Hey, Geekscapists, welcome to a brand new Geekscape podcast. I'm Jonathan London. I'm your host. Hi, how are you doing? Maybe this is your first Geekscape and you're like, hey, I found this on my podcatcher and I want to know all about movies, video games, comics, TV shows, all of that stuff. Well, you came to the right place. Maybe you're like in Senegal and you're like, I want to know what the top 10 film interview podcast is all about. And so you found our show. That's right. We are number 10 there. Or maybe it's like Albania or something. I don't know. But I will say that the numbers have been great on Geekscape. We actually have had the best numbers we've ever had. And this is a 15-year-old show. So if you're listening to this and you've been with us since the beginning, I really don't know what's going on. I just know that maybe it's the fact that we've accrued almost 1,000 episodes and someone's downloading them somewhere every day. Or maybe it's the fact that I've just been having a blast. We've been doing a lot of episodes, and if you're having trouble keeping pace, I will slow down a little bit. It's just that, well, pop culture isn't slowing down. We've had some big releases, like the Book of Boba Fett wrapped up. We had to talk about that. Peacemaker over on HBO Max wrapped up. We had to talk about that. So those two specials are over in your feed. And then also we had some cool guests, like Jonah Tulis had a film come out all about the GameStop stock phenomenon that happened last year. Sorry, my buddy had a movie out. I had to talk about it. And then our friends at Stereo have that Kickstarter going on, and they're a band that I've loved since, well, they started in 1999. They played my radio show then, and we had a reunion of sorts last week on the show. So I couldn't exactly say like, hey, can you come back in 3 weeks? The Kickstarter, pre-order their album. I've listened to that first single, and it's really great. And I love those guys. I had a lot of feedback on that episode. People saying, like, this was fantastic. It's a music episode too. So sometimes we're going to talk to you about music, just sometimes movies, sometimes it's going to be an interview, or sometimes it's going to be like what you're about to get right now, which is an interview show. No, not an interview show. Sorry, scratch that. It's going to be a news and review show. We've got our good friend Liz Saydah's on the show. She's an actress. You may have heard her. If you're like our good friend Derek Cranevelt, who hosts our Xbox Game Passenger show, you're probably a big fan because she does this game. I think it's called Oxenfree. She did the second game, Oxenfree, and I just remember Derek talking about how great this game was, and he reviewed the first one on Geekscape Games back in the day. So when Katie, who's also going to be on the show, my co-host, said, hey, my friend Liz, like, she's like VO'd a ton of games and stuff, I was like, you know what, let's get her on the show. If only it's that Derek is like, oh cool, I love this episode. All right, I want to get started, but real quick, we're gonna have a lot of fun today. I have to say a few words real quick. My good buddy Wayne Cheong, this is going to be a little bit of a downer, Geekscapist, and maybe you did not know the man. Maybe you did, because I was a guest on his show a few times. But Wayne Cheong is the guy who started Podfest Asia, and sadly, I found out that he died this morning. Wayne was a really, really good guy, so I'm just gonna like talk about him here for a few seconds, and then we're gonna start the show. I met Wayne a little bit over a year ago, and he invited me onto his live stream. And what Wayne would do is he's out of Singapore, and he was kind of new to podcasting, but he was such an enthusiast. So what he would do is he would start like these 24-hour live streams on places like StreamYard. Maybe you're watching us on YouTube, Twitch, or Facebook right now through StreamYard. And he would invite a ton of podcasters on and schedule them in like 30-minute increments, because he just loved podcasting and he wanted to meet as many people as possible. So I was a guest on his show. He had a ton of musicians on his show. He was a big rock person. He was in bands like Nirvana and Ministry and U2, and he would kind of travel the world going out for rock concerts. And he had like a bucket list of bands he wanted to see. And I hope he really got pretty far on that bucket list, because sadly he went to the hospital last week with COVID complications. He had a prior health, I think he had a prior illness, and he didn't come out. His partner said that he passed away. And Wayne, if I can just tell you briefly about him, but for the grace of God, like, that's me, somebody who's incredibly enthusiastic about connecting people, talking to other people about everything they love. And you could tell whenever you heard one of his streams, the guy was a super, super passionate podcaster. And so Wayne, dude, I wish we could have met in person. And cracked on the mics together. And I wish I could have maybe gone to a concert with you or something. But we love you, dude. You were always so supportive of this show. You were supportive of the network. You were super enthusiastic about what we do here on Geekscape. And you were a big supporter to me just in our short time knowing each other. So Wayne, from one podcaster to another, we dedicate this show to you. I'll continue to dedicate the show to you because every time I throw on this microphone, I'm going to be like, you know what? Whether you're feeling it or not, Jonathan, you got to approach this thing the way Wayne would have. Because he was a real one. So Wayne, I love you, buddy. We're gonna get the show started, and it's in your name. Okay, we'll be right up. So enjoy some Geekscape. Hang tight. All right, Geekscapers, that's where we are. And you know what? When I posted that we are doing the best that we've ever done with our numbers, somebody asked me, hey, what is like your favorite moment of the last 15 years in podcasting? And I really can't answer that because I like every episode. I like every guest, and I like meeting new people. So let's get right to it, Geekscapists. We've got Katie, my co-host. She hasn't been on the show in about 2 weeks. I'm not going to say that's why our numbers have been good. I didn't say that. But here she is anyway.
I see how it is.
Up? How are you, Katie?
Yeah, okay. Just exit throughout the Geekscape. All right, fine.
I did miss you, and I was like, I got to get Katie back in here. I got to get her thoughts on movies, video games, comics, and the like.
All the things. Yeah, no, I'm glad to be back. I know that you had quite a few things, and just want to say my deepest condolences for your friend and for anybody in Geekscape who knew him as well.
Dude, Wayne was awesome. Wayne was a good dude. You know what I wanted? I didn't want to be on Wayne's show another time. I wanted to have Matt Kelly on there. I wanted to throw Matt Kelly at Wayne and see how Wayne responded, because Wayne's just this dude in Singapore who's like trying to learn how to podcast. He's trying to learn how to like stream, and so he's asking me all these questions about like, oh, you've been here from the beginning. Like,
and if I know you, you're not the best with giving advice in podcasting. You tend to get a little bit snarky.
Listen, I don't think podcasting's hard. I don't. I don't think it's that hard. Like when you walk into Best Buy and they have like starting podcasting kits to like just plug in and start doing it, I don't think it's hard. Having something to say and keeping an audience together, that's hard. But I can't explain that. You just got to start laying down the track and see if the train keeps running. That's it. But Matt Kelly versus Wayne would have been awesome. And so I hope Wayne, I hope you're good, dude, wherever you are.
Yeah.
You were real. I mean, he really was a real one. The dude was passionate. He wasn't one of these dudes who was like, I want to get into podcasting so I can be Joe Rogan. No. Because
there are a lot.
That's where I start becoming a jerk when it comes to podcasting, and the people who are like, so when do you get famous? What?
When do you get money? Oh,
I have some really bad news for you. There's
there's a lot of money in it.
Everybody and their mom started a podcast during the pandemic, and get the hell out of here. Literally like 800,000
their mom.
Podcasting in 2005, I remember there was 4 of us. Podcasting in 2022, there are too many of us, probably including us. But Katie, I'm glad you're here, and I'm excited for you to take over. All right.
Yeah, man. Absolutely. I think we got a lot of fun coming up, though.
All right. Speaking of taking over, this thing has just been a white dude party the last couple of weeks. Like
That's why your numbers have been so good.
Don't say that. Please don't say that. Don't think I haven't been conscious of this. Like, Geekscape is, I don't want to be like those shows where it's like, let's give a white dude a microphone. There's a half white guy right here with this microphone, like half Mexican, half white dude right here that you're listening to. And I added Katie because I wanted like a female
co-host. Get another white person in.
Well, it's not that. I just
I'm
Didn't
kidding.
want to. No offense, dudes. I didn't want another white dude to be my like.
Cool.
You know, and
Sorry,
I know.
Incelbot. Ain't happening.
Sorry, but like, we cannot have a podcast network that feels like a freaking frat house. So
because that's how all of them start.
Oh God, like
yeah. No, I know.
You've heard some of these fucking podcasts. Like we used to have we used to go on. I'm not going to say the name of the podcast. There have been some nasty allegations going on recently, but when we shared a network, like I would be finishing my show and they'd be waiting to come in to do the studio, and there'd be like 15 dudes waiting at the windows to come in. And I used to call them the gangbang show. I was like, it's not you know what? It probably didn't make any friends for me. Like they probably didn't like that. I know they didn't like that. They called me and said, "Will you stop calling us the gangbang show?" But yeah, I don't want. Yeah, I don't want that to be Geekscape. I've never wanted it to be Geekscape, and now that we have 20 shows or so, I like the fact that they're diverse. Okay, let's get to it. The point of it is, I asked Katie whenever we should get a guest, because I know Katie's going to lead me towards a female guest or a diverse guest, and we have one right here. Her name is Liz Saydah. She's amazing. She's a voiceover actress. She's been involved in video games. She's been involved a whole lot. She's an improviser. She's very funny, and I'm going to prove it right now by bringing her on the show. Boom.
Greatest opening.
I am melting under the pressure right now.
I do love that you're also in a room that kind of makes it look like you're in like a panic room.
Yeah, a torture chamber. Yeah, I spend a lot of time in here, so this is my comfort zone.
Yeah,
my fortress of solitude.
Yeah, you do. You could do quite a bit of the VO, and I did mention Oxenfree too, and that's like the one that I've heard. I've heard of the Oxenfree series because of Derek talking about it on Geekscape Games. But what are some of your other credits? I have them all here, but I think you're better at that. I've been talking too long.
I might be better at. You might be better at. I get. Well, yeah. I've been on this train for, I guess, I don't know, 10 or 12 years now. A couple of the other games I've done. I did another game with a Night School Studio. They're great. They're the developers behind Oxenfree and Oxenfree 2, called Next Stop Nowhere, where it was basically like a bounty hunter in space. That was fun.
Nice.
The Evil Within 2, 2, not the first one. I guess I'm big on sequels. I was in Wasteland 3.
I don't think that you don't waste your time seeing if a franchise is going to take off or not.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
Just drop in the second one. Yeah.
Yeah, you're like the Lando Calrissian, and you're like, oh, you know what? Call me when you all get re-upped, okay?
Yeah. I just like to sit back, see how it goes, and then jump on, at the last second.
Jump on the bandwagon.
Yeah, exactly. Brawl Stars is kind of a fun little. I had no idea how popular it was, but it's one of those app games that people love. I'm hyper on that, and what else? Oh, I just played Amelia Earhart in Wanderer. It's a VR game for PlayStation that just released very end of January. So that was really fun. With Odd Boy was the developer in New Zealand. That wasn't a Kiwi accent at all. I just tried to.
I
was like taking New
Zealand
accent.
I mailed a Geekscape shirt to Australia. We had this Geekscape listener down there who he was part of our fundraiser for a short film a few years ago, and I was like, I gotta mail this dude his shirt, and he made a video for us. This guy, Brad Abrams, and he was like, "Hello, mate, I got your T-shirt," and all this stuff. And I was like, I'm going to try and say his accent on the show, and it's going to be terrible. So I'm going to cut it there. But Brad, thank you, dude, for the video. It's really cool seeing you on the opposite side of the planet with your Geekscape shirt. He's asleep right now, but I think he'll get this when he listens to the podcast.
He might. Yeah.
He might be
he's got young kids, so maybe he's awake.
Maybe.
Well, then he's definitely awake right now.
Where are you from? Where'd you grow up, Liz?
I grew up in New Jersey, very proudly. Yeah, northern New Jersey, the New York part, I guess you could say.
Is that a thing that like Jersey people do to associate themselves in New York? Because a lot of people from northern New Jersey are like, the New York part.
No, I do it. Yeah, not the rest. No, I do it for the benefit of the non-Jersey people, because Jersey's sort of like, it's either you're like the Philly part or the New York part, I guess, or
Sure.
North and South Jersey. So I guess I could say North Jersey. That would be more independently minded. The Taylor Ham part. I'm from the Taylor Ham part of the state.
Not the
Yes,
pork
which
roll
is
part.
Not the
Yeah.
pork roll part.
Because
We've
the
had
other
many
part, they
discussions
call it a
about this,
pork
yeah.
roll.
Yeah. Yes,
Okay.
it is the exact same atrociously delicious product, however.
It's
Yeah.
such a strange experience. I finally had it for the first time over the summer when I got engaged, and I can't even describe it. It's almost citrusy.
What the hell is it?
You've never had it?
I mean,
London?
I know the geographical distinction between the people who call it the pork roll and people who call it the Taylor ham. I
ham.
know that north-south stuff, and one day it will end in brothers against brothers bloodshed. But what the hell is it? Is it like is it like a candied ham? It's like one of those. It's like those
Not-
hams that
not
have like the
exactly.
glaze stuff on it, like a
With,
honey
like,
baked,
the
is it like
ripples and
that?
stuff?
Yeah,
No,
it's like
so as Mark describes it, it's as if like bologna, but tasted the way you wanted it to taste. Is how he
Oh,
describes
interesting.
it.
Yeah,
So, so it tastes like a turkey sandwich. Because if somebody's like, "Here, have some bologna," I'm like, "Got
No,
anything else?"
it doesn't taste like it's healthy for you,
No.
specifically.
No.
But it's definitely like, oh, my arteries, they're closing right now, but it's so good. Liz, would you describe it?
Yeah, I think everybody has a different interpretation. I'd say it's kind of like a fusion of what's it called? Spam, kind of
It sounds
Canadian
gross.
bacon, a little bit
Okay.
Yes.
Canadian, and then some otherworldly substance, and it's all just
Like mystery
pressed.
meat?
Yeah,
Salt.
kind of, but it's
It's
so
a-
good. It's so salty and good. It's
And do you
It's-
have something with it? Are there or do you have it by yourself? Like, how do you do
a
this?
Taylor ham, egg and cheese is pretty much you
Oh.
can't top that very
It's really
classic
good.
combo. Yeah, it just
Why-
I will
Why
say
hasn't this stuff made itself west? Is all I want to know.
technically it is. I guess you can
Okay.
get it at the Grove.
Oh.
Specifically. Yeah.
yeah, it's
There's,
very
like,
classy. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like one of those that like you can only get at the Grove, maybe. I don't know, but it hasn't like been a big thing out here. I've only recently discovered it. I also, when you go for Taylor ham, it's almost like you just go for broke with it. And I had a slice of Taylor ham cooked and then put on top of a donut. And
Whoa.
Holy shit!
I know
Oh my
I was
God.
like, I feel everything inside me crying, but it was so good.
Really?
And especially after spending the entire day swimming and everything, and just wanting
Yeah,
to, like,
exercising and that stuff, that healthy. That's not a
And then-
prerequisite. Kate, I'll do this thing
Yeah.
with Katie, where whenever I have fast food, I'll use the portrait mode on my phone to make it look beautiful, and
So
I'll
gross.
send her a picture of whatever I'm eating. If it's like Popeyes, McDonald's, Burger King, whatever it
But
is.
this is like every day too. This isn't
It's-
just
it's
like,
not
oh, this happened on
infrequent.
Friday.
No, it's not infrequent. It happens. It happens regularly. And I just want to let Katie, just a little reminder for Katie, who had voice on the show earlier, months ago or in the past, recent, like the pressures that she feels from motherfuckers being like, women's got to exercise, women's got to be this, women's got to be that. And I send her these photos and I go, "Okay, eat whatever the fuck you want to eat, Katie, because one day we're going to be in the damn ground. And you know
Yep.
what? Big Macs taste good.
They do. They do.
They taste
but
really
they don't
good.
taste great when you have them day after day after day. though.
Yeah, the novelty would wear off real quick.
a little bit.
I had a
No.
salad today.
Congratulations!
But
I'm really
tomorrow,
Wow.
I'm really proud. I really
but
am.
tomorrow it's gonna be savagery.
Taylor
Okay,
ham on a salad. Yeah.
Exactly.
and you know what
You're gonna
Geekscape
get
is?
Taylor ham. Yeah.
I know we promised to talk to y'all about video games and comics and stuff, and you're like, "What the hell is this?"
No,
But
Taylor ham.
you know
Let's
what?
educate them.
What do we do here, Katie? There's 3 things that we do here on Geekscape. We
Educate, proliferate,
no, we don't. Say that.
and conjugate. That is what we do here.
That's what we do. Right? It's entertain, inspire, and educate. And that was your educational portion of the show. Somebody over on YouTube, Liz, says, have you seen the latest Brawlentine's animation on the Brawl Stars YouTube channel? That it probably involves you because you're in that Brawl game.
Man, they didn't tell me about it.
Well,
Yeah,
we used your voice. You want us to pay you for it? No, I'm kidding.
I'll have to. You gotta like share the link with me actually. Yeah, let's see. I did. Let's see. I'm trying to think. It
Do you
can't be the same
remember
thing.
if you did?
No. The thing I did something for Brawl Stars like a year and a half ago, and I can't remember if it was for like Valentine's Day ish kind of.
Sort of the
I can't remember.
holiday
Anyway, yeah, I think I may have been left out of this one.
Okay, but if you use her voice, I'm just warning you, Brawl Stars.
Yeah.
We're gonna send Shane O'Hare over there to litigate this.
Yeah.
You don't want him to be
You don't want Shane litigating. Shane tried to sue a company here in California. He lives in Alaska because he ordered a graphics card for his computer. It wasn't working properly because it was missing like a washer or something simple that he found a fix on that a 12-year-old told him how to do on YouTube. But before he'd done that, he'd poured like all this like cooling goop all over the thing and I think fried it. And then because I think it didn't come with instructions, he threatened to sue the company in California.
Which turned out to be like an 800 number, and it didn't really go anywhere.
Can you go to this warehouse in Chino, Jonathan, and see what it looks like? I can only get so close on MapQuest. No, let's not do that. I'm not driving to Chino for you, buddy, and serving papers. Jim Dooley is over on YouTube, and he says, "Hey, Katie and Liz forever." So yeah, I agree. Let me see myself out. I'm going to see myself out of this one.
Fantastic composer, and wonderful human being, has a live show that he's doing in Burbank. Liz, help me with the details.
Yeah, at the Colony Theater. Shout out to Jim. Yes,
very funny stuff.
Yeah. We're going to see it on March 26th.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah.
Yes, that's where we got tickets.
Buy tickets. Do it. Yeah.
So y'all are getting back out there. Y'all are going back to the live events, going back to theaters. I know I have Batman tickets. We'll be talking about the Batman here in a few weeks. But Katie, you went to see this Uncharted movie?
I went and saw Uncharted this last Friday.
Me. I'm kidding.
you all of Friday, you were just mad at me. 'Cause 2 things happened.
We'll get to all the things. We'll get to all the umbrage I have towards you.
Okay, cool.
This Uncharted movie.
Uncharted in theaters, and listen, if you thought Naughty Dog was relentless with bad guys and things like that, it's not necessarily the case in this movie. It's a fun popcorn movie. It is it's like a superhero movie without the superhero effects. I will say, don't look too in depth into some of the puzzles because you might be a little bit like, oh, that was weirdly convenient. Don't worry. I feel like you have to give a little bit of grace for some of this, but it's interesting to see Sony doing such a big property on the big screen. And I thought they did well. I thought it was fun. It was a great action movie. Wahlberg is hilarious. Maybe not the Sully I was envisioning, but I think because Wahlberg was attached to this as Nathan Drake, the main character, and I think so, yeah. And then stayed on. And he kind of aged out of the role, so now he's playing Sully. One of our friends asked us, like, who would you cast for Sully? And I was like, ooh, I could not think of anything. And someone said Idris Elba, and I was like, ooh, that would actually be really cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I thought it was great. You don't get to see him in his like gun holsters until the very end of the movie, which is a bummer. But it's sort of the meeting of Sully and all the shenanigans and the treasure digging and everything. It's fun. It's a blast of a movie. I'd say see it in the theaters. If you're not comfortable with the theaters at all, wait for it. It'll come out on like HBO Max or Disney Plus or something at some point. Actually, it's a Sony product, so probably not on Disney Plus.
Yeah, if y'all have
the PlayStation Network,
yeah, if y'all got Crackle, you can watch.
Right, there you go.
Yeah. Or Tubi.
Yeah. I watched something on Tubi the other day. Somebody had their movie on Tubi, and you just have to sit through. It's like sitting through ads on Hulu.
Yeah,
it wasn't bad. I was like, okay, I can see Tubi. I can see why Tubi is paying a lot for content right now. So Tubi's kind of out there. The one thing with Naughty Dog, Katie, is like those games feel like you're playing a movie. There are a lot of cinematic cutscenes. Did they just take a lot of the cinematic cutscenes from the game and put it into the film? Because like the sequence, like with the airplane and stuff, you see that in the trailer, and you're like, oh, that was in the game.
And that's it's a cool opening shot. You catch up to that later in the movie, but it's one of those where you start in the action of it, which is smart, and then you kind of flash back to him as a kid with his brother Sam, and then move on. He is a kid. Well, that was the one thing I have to say is that like there were several shots, like clearly Tom Holland worked out, obviously he's constantly working out. He had a shirt off in several scenes, and I just felt like he was like a little brother, and I was like, you don't have to do that. Like, thank you. But, like, you're just not old enough yet.
It was like seeing Kylo Ren with his shirt off, and you were like, what? What's happening here? They shouldn't kiss. Oh, they're kissing. Oh, whoa, okay. I guess they're kissing now.
I weirdly felt very protective of Tom, and I was just like, you don't have to subjugate yourself to this. Like, the sexualization. Gratuitous. Yeah. But it wasn't. It was like they had some really great moments. He's it's hard to get past the Peter Parker. He does a really good job. He's a little bit more savvy and quick-witted. I mean, Peter is very quick-witted to begin with, but Nathan Drake he's more, at least in the games, he's a little bit more oily, more like he's kind of
what
he's basically Nathan Fillion, like
sure. And people talked about that for a long time, and I'm like, I don't know if Nathan Fillion,
I mean, unfortunately, he's on age out of the role. Maybe he could play a good Sully, but he's just so quick-witted and very smarmy, especially with the ladies. And then seeing Tom Holland do it, I was like, oh.
He does get oily in this. Oily. Oily is a definition. Oily's a definition.
Just like in I don't know, like I could date you. Like I'm a slick guy.
Like a fucking lamp? I don't know. Oily like I don't oily.
You know what I mean?
Like it's probably in the script. It's like an oily.
Yeah, there's that too.
Enters
an oily treasure hunter. He's got a gleam in his eye.
Know
and
what
he's
that means.
oily.
I would know what that means.
I guess I envision it as like someone's a little bit too slick, like who's like great with the pickup lines, great with sliding in, grabbing the drink, he's
a player.
Little player. Yeah.
Somebody asked me, is this like the male Lara Croft? And I was like, well, wasn't Lara Croft just Indiana Jones with I can't keep, yes, they're all treasure hunters. And I do want to see this. This looks like you said it was fun. Someone else said it was like a loud popcorn movie, leave your brain at home kind of fun
Definitely remove the brain. Like Mark leaned over to me at one point and he's like, I think I just found a treasure. And it made me laugh really hard. But yeah, I mean, you can't really get beyond Tom Holland and, Mark Wahlberg just being themselves. But apart from that, it's a fun romp of a movie. They go several different places. The other actors in it are very good. There's two actresses. One is like the main evil, and then there's another one that's kind of like their sidekick. Not sidekick. Evil. Second, not really an evil, but like not side. Well, almost okay. In a way. But they're both very good. And
how is Antonio Banderas?
Antonio Banderas is great.
Yeah.
He's I honestly kind of forgot he was in it.
How dare you?
I know.
How dare you?
Which he made a good Sully too. I'm just putting that out there.
But, he could be oily. He could be definitely oily.
Very oily.
We need to make an all oily movie, and I think that would be fun. Nathan DiCarlo over on Facebook says, I've heard mixed reviews. Yeah, no, I've heard somebody say it'd be like, oh, it's terrible. But what do you? Have there been good video game movies besides the? That's it. That's the one that didn't get the Oscar, Sonic. But Sonic 2.
Oh God.
Liz should be in Sonic 2. It's a sequel.
I should.
Are you in Sonic 2?
Not yet. Not yet.
Let's get you in Sonic 2.
We got to get you in Sonic 2. Play like one of the rings or something. I don't know. Like
whatever. I'll do whatever.
Yeah, you're like make like a ding sound, like a ring. Like that's it. That's your audition. Let's send it in. Let's send it in. Jim Dooley, your buddy does say, can Liz talk about doing VO work for Disney?
Yeah.
Oh well. I mean
NDAs and all that, but what can you do?
Yeah, well,
what can you do?
What can you say?
I mean, I have a Disney Plus commercial. That's probably what I mean. So So technically, yes, I've worked for Disney. But they can call me if they want me to be in,
All the
the
other
Disney
things.
version of Sonic. Yeah, anything else.
Yes, it's a great commercial. If you've seen it, it's like a tour guide going through the states. It's animated, and Liz is the tour guide. I feel like I catch her voice on random things, like commercials or whatnot, every now and then, because every time I hear it, I'm just like, oh, such a honey voice, and I'm like, oh, I know that honey voice. That's Liz Saydah. Like, you pop up on like commercials all of the time. I can hear her.
Very random. I'm
Is
extremely
it insulting
random.
that she recognizes your voice? Are you not supposed to be like a chameleon of a million voices? Is it insulting to you
No,
that Katie
I think
says that?
Well, no, it
Okay.
just means that Katie knows me well, and yeah, I think it's a compliment. I think it's good.
All right. All right.
Yeah.
Well,
'Cause I mean, when I'm watching something and I'm like, oh God, whose voice is that? I know that voice. That's
Right.
to
You gotta
me.
look it up, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. So I'm
Yeah, we've
peaked.
been doing that a lot too. What was it like on Oxenfree? Like, were you recording just in your own home? Did you have to go into a studio?
Yeah. Well, we started it at the very end of 2020. I think. Yeah. God, time.
Oh wow.
Time. What is time
It
anymore?
means nothing.
Yeah, and so, I mean, we recorded it, well, actually, I'm not gonna say okay, no, some things I can't say, but we recorded it for at least, over the course of a year, so,
Sure.
it's very, like, disjointed as far as, like, the process, you're every session's usually 2 to 3 hours, on average, you're just getting a huge Excel sheet with a ton of different branching dialogue. Well, if you've played Oxenfree, it's sort of a choose your own adventure. Um, we're recording different options for the characters that you as the player can pick, and so there's all these like branching dialogue scenes and everything. So, and we don't have any context. You don't know necessarily who you're talking to. You don't necessarily know where you are, what's going on, anything. So you're like in a vacuum, and that's where like the writer slash director will be like directing me. I'm in my booth at home because we couldn't be in the studio. And and so we're going through and he's like, all right, so here we're, can't say,
Right.
but you're, stressed or, whatever. So it's it's sort of it's a team effort. But it was all remote. All remote. So
Was
it's
there
good and bad.
was there any lines that you were just like, I don't know in what context this is? Like, you were so lost and confused.
What's a Taylor ham?
Yeah, exactly. Oh yeah, Riley Poverly, big Taylor Ham fan. I wish I should have made that suggestion. Yeah, for sure. Oh my God, like I think it's funny when you like see a line and you're like, oh yeah, I know what this line, like I know how I'm gonna deliver this, and you're like, oh, I nailed it, and then they'll just be like, let's do 3 more, except this time you're like hurt and you've just been hit by a boulder, and it's like, oh, okay, and you like thought you gave this like great emotional like performance, like no, you're just
Moving
sort of
on.
saying, yeah,
right. Oh, that was a choice. So.
yeah, it was a choice. Yeah, good, that was great. But yeah, so but I like countless times, yeah, because you just have a line, you don't even know, and you're not working opposite your like Jacob, who's played by Joe Bianco. We're not in the session together, so it's just me saying the line in a vacuum and kind of conjuring up the circumstances around it.
They're still on Excel sheets. Like I remember writing dialogue for video games into those Excel sheets, and there was no flow on the writer's behalf. I was getting no flow because I was like, okay, there's 8 characters that could be answering it. They haven't fixed that format. It is still Excel sheets with disparate.
Yeah.
I will say my brief stint of correcting grammar for Russian mobile video games. It was
Oh man, that was no video game. You were directing the invasion of Ukraine. That's what you were doing.
Oh,
you were like, it was like Ender's Game. They were like, is video game, but really it's just Ender's Game, and you're just like directing military troops, and it's Katie's voice.
Oh God,
that's what you done, dude.
Yeah.
How could you sleep at night?
I, very poorly. I think I told you before the show began. I don't get much sleep. It's probably because I'm drinking coffee at 6 p.m.
Drink vodka.
Always read the fine print, Katie. Always read the fine print. Yeah.
Well, and that's the crazy thing. They were very specific though. Like they're, if you do anything out of place or like too much of a like, it's like they're very strict on the parameters. But they always do it in an Excel spreadsheets. And I remember one time I had this huge assignment. They told me a huge assignment, and they're like, "How long do you think this will take you?" So I overestimated because I was like, "I'll get this done in a half hour or something." And then I looked and I didn't realize that they had like extra tabs at the bottom.
Those tabs at the bottom. You got to check those tabs.
God.
Man,
yes.
And that's the thing that drives me crazy, especially about like Excel editing. I was like, no. And then I was like, oh, I guess I will fill this time.
Katie, you could have started World War III earlier.
Did. I think I probably like planted the seeds.
I think you did.
Wow.
Yeah. For good old granddad Putin.
Remember when everybody was taking that? Remember that app where everybody was like aging themselves and they found out that it was like a face scanning software and it came from Russia and they were like, don't scan your faces into that face scanning thing. It's Russian. They're going to take your face and they'll be able to scan it into stuff. That was Katie.
Well, and if anybody wants like an editing job, they keep knocking me up for like more work. And I was like, I told you I have a full-time job now.
Yeah, because the invasion's in high gear, Katie.
Yeah.
They're like, please. I was like, I'm sorry.
You're gonna have to like point them into the ocean or something. You got to figure that out, Katie. Katie, you can save democracy.
I could. I totally could. The problem is
freedom.
A lot of them were like match 3 games, so I'm not totally sure how much matching the 3 gems is gonna help me change the world. But you never know.
People didn't think Facebook posts were gonna like shift the 2016 election. People didn't think those meme shares were gonna like change the geopolitical face of this planet. But you done did it, so you better match those gems right, Katie.
Which is actually, that kind of is a tie-in to a new show Severance, which has this sort of like matching like code thing, but that show is fantastic. I know, Liz, you were interested in watching
that. That's the Ben Stiller show, right?
That's queued up for later. Yep.
Yeah.
It's like Ben Stiller directed it.
There are 2, yeah.
And Adam Scott's in it.
Adam Scott's in it, yeah. Actually also oh gosh, he just came in. We watched the 2nd episode last night and I was like, what, how is he here? Okay, I'm gonna have to look him up. Christopher Walken. Yeah, I was like, wait, what?
She nailed it.
It was so shocking that I was like, wait, did we just see that? Is Christopher Walken in the show? But yeah, it's a kind of shocking. It's a very good show. The female opposite's actually really good too. I haven't heard of her before, but she's really good. And Adam Scott is in a position. He's a new kind of character that I've not seen out of Adam Scott, and I'm here for it. It's if you like Devs on Hulu, it's very much in this kind of weird vein. Also, what was the Jonah Hill show with
where everything's analog? Maniac,
yeah. It's very similar feel, kind of
Justin
dystopian.
Theroux too. Yeah. Everything was analog. It's a little dystopian, and it's like, and so this one is about a guy who separates his work and home life legally, and like they get into his brain and like say, hey, like when you leave this work, you won't remember anything. Okay.
So it's like highly sensitive stuff, but we don't even really know when we get into like the highly sensitive stuff what it is exactly that they're doing, and it feels like a match 3 type of game. But yes, so at work you're basically one split personality, and then at home you're a totally different. And there's a reason why Adam Scott decides to do this in his own personal life. You start to slowly figure out that like maybe not all is as it seems, and do people go into this willingly, and there are other departments. It's a really cool like slow reveal of very odd things.
Cool. Yeah
that actually sounds cool. I was on the fence because I liked the Jonah Hill show. I liked that Maniac mini series. I thought that was really well designed and really well done. This one, I mean, Ben Stiller's kind of been doing non-comedy in like
it feels like
really
he's going
way.
The Jordan Peele route, honestly.
He's doing some cool stuff.
something with like a little bit more meaning. There's one channel that we follow on YouTube called New Rock Stars, and he does breakdowns of things like Marvel shows and things like that. I really want to do a breakdown of this because there's so many details that I feel like I'm missing just at first glance. So I might have to go back and rewatch that show.
Well, Bolt T, who's a very loyal listener, he says, I like Very Odd Things. He's over on YouTube and says that. So Bolt T, yeah, dude. Bolt T, you finished that Peacemaker yet? You gonna go back and listen to the Peacemaker special? If you finished it yet, he got like 10 minutes in the Peacemaker special and says, oh, I haven't watched it yet, I'm gonna bail. And cool, I hope you pick it up later. I'm looking forward to that one now that it has Katie's endorsement. There's so much content out there that I can't keep up. We started watching Pam and Tommy, and I think the performances of those actors are phenomenal.
Also really great music too.
The music, everything about it is like really well done. I just feel bad for Pamela Anderson the whole time because like she really is the victim in this whole thing, and they portray her. And Lizzie Collins is that the name of the actress? She's phenomenal.
So, yeah. She's really good.
Everybody's phenomenal in this show, but they really portray her as somebody who was exploited, and it was probably the smartest person out of any of them as an individual. She's smart, she's passionate, she's focused on what she wants to do career-wise, and she just gets steamrolled by men being men in this situation, and it's horrifying to see it all get out of her control in the victimization that happens. And you can't reel that back in. That sex tape went everywhere. Like I was there in the mid-90s. I remember hearing about the freaking sex tape, and just
it's God, like all the news talked about.
It was a horror movie.
Yeah.
And you had the beginnings of TMZ and that whole like crazy celebrity news thing starting up after OJ. And that was like the next thing that they turned to. Like after OJ, they turned to the Pamela Tommy thing. And so watching this is giving me like PTSD, and I can only imagine, like, I mean, I guess Pamela didn't give like the endorsement of the article that it's based on, didn't give an endorsement of the show. And you can see why, because it feels exploitative of something that was already exploitative of her. You know, so
I wouldn't want to revisit that.
I have to watch it. I have to watch it in moderation.
That makes sense.
I'm looking for something happy to watch, and Liz suggested Yellowjackets.
I did, and you know,
it's like Lord of the Flies, right? It's like Lord of the Flies.
Oh yeah, a little bit. Yeah, there are elements
and
of that.
Lost and all that stuff.
Yeah. It's kind of I guess I don't know.
Is it another trippy show?
It's it's a little trippy. It's a little trippy. Yeah.
I don't know a whole lot about it.
I gotta watch it. Everybody and their mom's telling me to watch it.
I've heard that. Too.
And the pilot episode is I did not like it. Like I was like, what? Like I couldn't get into the tone really. I was like, what is it? What is the show? And then once I watched the second episode, I was like, okay, all right, now I understand. This is the tone. There's a lot of sort of 90s nostalgia and like kind of 90s style acting also in the first episode, and I was a little thrown by it. And then it really kind of immerses itself, and like I'll watch Juliette Lewis and Christina Ricci in anything. But yeah, like the actors are good, and it's intense. It's definitely intense, and if you don't like gore, I wouldn't watch it. But yeah, it hooks you, man. It hooks you. So recommend.
Okay, so
yeah,
I'm in. I think that third actress,
yes,
who is, we got to find her name in Geekscape if you're in the chat, help me out.
Yeah,
she's been in everything for years, playing housewives and girlfriends, and I just think she's so adorable and so good at what she does, and she plays these characters that sometimes are like doormatish like characters in a situation, but she has this sensitivity and this depth to it. That she was in a revenge movie with Elijah Wood.
Is it Melanie Linsky? Tawny Cypress?
I think it is. I think
Melanie
it's Melanie
I
Linsky.
think that's right. Yeah,
and she's in this movie with Elijah Wood that was just like somebody was like a neighbor was fucking with her, and she goes and says, you know what, I'm going to team up with Elijah Wood, who's this weird kid in the neighborhood, and we're going to fucking get revenge. And it was so much fun watching that film. I'll find it. I'll find it. And I'll post it on the Geekscape Facebook. I'll put it on the Geekscape Forever Facebook group. Nathan DiCarlo, he's like, yo, I finally had the chance to watch 1833 on Paramount Plus. I'm surprisingly enjoying it. Only one season, but definitely worth the watch. I've heard the same thing. And
I've heard
Paramount
great
Plus,
things
like
too, yeah.
Picard is starting up again. You get the second
There's
half of
that.
the next, like
You're gonna
Star
get
Trek
Q on
Discovery.
that, yeah.
There's too much
Also,
content, Katie.
Big shout out to my good friend Amanda Jaros, who is in 1833. I'll try and get her on the show, but yeah, it looks fantastic, and like the detail that they went into that, especially with the costumes and everything and the setting, it sounds pretty amazing.
Second season, we got to get Liz on there.
Yep.
Like the kind of like training wheels season is over.
Yeah, right.
And
exactly.
now they're ready.
Yeah. I'm like, what's going on over there? Yeah.
Yeah.
I did watch the pilot.
Yeah.
I'll confess, and I didn't love it.
Didn't love it.
Katie always I deserve this, but they always joke that I hate everything, and that may be sort of true occasionally.
But when Liz gives you a compliment, you know it's coming from a truthful place.
See, exactly.
Or you know there's a second part coming after.
Right. Exactly.
Or she's just being randomly kind.
Sideswipe you with the trailer.
Yeah.
I think we did this, Katie. You had recommended that new Reacher show.
I did.
And I couldn't get through the pilot because everybody's like, you just gotta get to the fight scenes. The fight scenes are awesome. I couldn't get to the first fight scene. I could not get to the first fight scene because it turned into a procedural so aggressively fast that I was like, I don't feel like a procedural. I feel like a character-based show, which I know that show, if I invest in it, will become that. And I think the one thing I think about that I liked about Reacher was it was very clean in its storytelling, and it's especially its silent storytelling. I was like, okay, I get this. This is really good. But then it really went into the whodunit pretty fast, and I was like, I still want to know if I want to hang out with these people first. Can I? But I liked what I saw. I just wasn't feeling it. And then you, speaking of mysteries, you in procedurals, you like that new Murderville show. Welcome to Murderville.
Welcome to Murderville.
What
it's
a weird
hilarious
concept of a show.
It's really great. So if anyone doesn't know about it, basically the premise is that Will Arnett is a detective trying to solve a murder each episode, so it's very episodic. Then they have a special guest detective who is someone very famous, like Conan O'Brien or Marshawn Lynch is one of them. And they don't have a script. They have no idea what's going to happen. So they have to improvise their way through this murder investigation. And at the end, they get to try and guess and see, like, if they, from all the details and the clues that they were given, if they can guess the murderer correctly. And then the chief comes in and tells them whether they're right or wrong. It's really well done.
I would love that. I think. Yeah.
I think you would. I really do.
Yeah.
It's very funny. The first episode was with Conan O'Brien, and if you haven't seen Conan just improvise, it's like he's scripted. It's unfortunate because they start with such a strong improviser, and by the end of it, you're like, there's no way that can't be scripted. How did he think that fast, or how did they like figure this out? And it's really well done. Also, the one with Kumail Nanjiani is one of my favorites because I think it's the first time you see Will Arnett break character. I don't know how many.
Oh no, he breaks character in the Conan one too. I was watching them like smirk and try not to lose their shit multiple times in the Conan one. And Nathan's here, and he's back, and he says, "Oh, that show, I wasn't a fan. Improv is one of those things that works in a specific format, like comedy bars or the stage. I think improv. I think improv works a lot.
I've heard that version of it.
I think Judd Apatow does a good job of like improv. Obviously, people like Christopher Guest do an amazing job of having the actors improvise. But Katie, I'm going to side with Nathan on this one.
Interesting.
I went to bat twice on one episode of the show, and it just didn't work for me. I thought like it's so vignette-ish that if they stop to do the improv stuff and the story's not moving and progressing, I'm like, this isn't funny. And I think we're going to make Geekscape shirts. Don't take offense at this, Katie. We're going to make Geekscape shirts that say friends don't invite friends to
their
level 1 improv shows. Because improv is one of those things.
That is a great shirt. As Liz and I both
improv
know.
is hard. And Katie, I invited you to be my co-host because you are fucking fearless and you are the funniest person I know of any gender or any height. And I and I have so much respect for what you do. If it doesn't work, I didn't have an end to this show, and I was like, it just felt like an inside joke in a lot of ways. Like, hey, isn't this funny? And I was like, you still gotta make it good. You need a writer. I think you need a writer on some of this stuff, or an editor.
Well, and I mean, I think they do, and I think they clip around it really well. I don't know if they do the Christopher Guest style of just 3 takes only, and that's
I think The
tops what
Office
they
put
do.
the fucking end to that. Like, I think Christopher Guest said that when The Office and these shows started doing the mockumentary format and proliferating it and doing it so incredibly well, Christopher Guest looked up and he's like, I don't need to make another movie. These people are doing it phenomenally well every week. And that was kind of cool to hear Christopher Guest say, even though Christopher Guest is the man and we miss him. And like seeing Michael McKean do, like Michael McKean, who's like his co-conspirator in a lot of these, seeing him do drama and Better Call Saul and stuff like that.
Right.
Like, phenomenal.
Wow.
Yeah.
There are no better actors than comedians. There's no better actors than Liz Saydah. No better actors. I'm telling you that, Geekscapists. You're like, you want good drama? You cast a comedian. You want good comedy? You cast a comedian. Or Jean-Claude Van Damme, don't tell him it's a comedy. That is what you do.
Liz, if there was any current show that you're watching or you love at the moment that you would like to be on, what show would you do? If you could pick.
Yeah, 2 of them right now. Every time I watch it, I'm like, God, this must be so fun to do. I am loving The Righteous Gemstones on HBO right now. It just looks like it's just, God, I love it.
I do that with some TV. Like that. Yeah.
And then, Katie, we've talked about this, but the British version of Ghosts, I'm like, what a fun, like, it's kind of repertory, and it's just so clever.
I have talked about the show every single time I came on. Yes, okay. So
you haven't been on the show in a year.
It's so wonderful. Not the American version.
I only know about the American version, which Katie said was the greatest show ever made.
No.
Katie said, I love that. She said, this is what I'm looking forward to in 2022 Geekscape. So I'm looking forward to more Ghosts American version, and I'm looking forward to this documentary called Morbius with Jared Leto. That looks beautiful. Those are the 2 things she said she was looking forward to in 2022. That's what she said.
This is the conversation I had with Incelbot.
That's what she said.
No, so the American version is its own thing. It's from the British version. The British version you can see on HBO Max right now. I can see you too.
I know you want to go see Morbius.
No, I don't. I really don't. But anyway, but Ghost on HBO Max, the British version, it's so quaint. It's so funny. What era would you want to be, a ghost, or would you want to be a friend of Allison's?
Oh, I would definitely want to be a ghost.
It's a haunted house thing. What is it?
Basically, what happens is this woman inherits basically a manor, and she doesn't know, it's a long lost great aunt or something like that. So she has no real mental connection to the house, but she comes in. Circumstances happen, and she can see the ghosts that are there from every era of time of people who have died there.
That's cool.
So there's a caveman. There's a guy from like World War II. Are
they aware of each other? Are the ghosts interacting with each other? Oh, perfect.
Very much
overlapping ghosts. That's great.
Yeah. No, and it's very repertory, like Liz was saying, in that like you have upstairs ghosts and you have downstairs ghosts, and they play both parts. They play ghosts. It's very fun. I think they even play. So I believe it's Robin, who's the caveman. I think he also plays the headless guy.
Really?
I think so. It's one of them. Yeah.
And is there like a What We Do in the Shadows kind of feel to some of this stuff?
A bit. It's a little bit more. I would say it's more grounded. Yeah. It's not.
There's drama to it.
There's heart. There's heart
to
it.
That's the thing. It's like not just it's not thin comedy. Like the jokes are clever. The actors are wonderful. And it's just like heart, but not pander, not too much. Like it's strategic. So you're like,
you don't have like the slow push-ins on somebody.
No.
No, only if it's the ghost who died in a witch burning trial, who's just saying, "Get out, get out, get out, get out, get out, get out." And she realizes that Allison can see and hear her.
Just see it.
No, it's just. I honestly, London, I think you and Heidi would actually really enjoy that. I think Heidi especially would really enjoy that show.
She's scared of ghosts.
It's not a scary. Well, there are some sort
Katie,
of scary moments, but
if
they're
there's
not
any effing sounds in the house after the sun goes down, I always have to go check it, and I'm like, yo, things creak. We have neighbors upstairs, downstairs. We got neighbors next to us. We got that stuff happens. The wind sometimes shifts the door frame and it creaks. That stuff happens. But anytime I get up, she's like, please come back.
Sir, you're engaged now. This is your duty. You got to go out there with the bat.
Listen, don't say anything, Geekscape. But she's got this letter opener. She's got this ornate letter opener in her bedside drawer. That ain't gonna do shit.
She's got the eyeballs. I'll tell you that.
Fuck me up when I try and swing something. I slip and stab myself with it when I fall through a fucking coffee table. Only thing that thing's gonna fuck up is me. She's got this ornate, stupid, jade-handled, dumb letter opener thing, and she's always like, take this. I don't if anybody breaks into my house, I do not intend to be within arm's fucking reach of that person enough to have it's like The Walking Dead when they were like, wait, take this, and they give the person a knife. I was like, these motherfucking things bite you and you're dead. This is what I would do. I'd be like, I'd take your stupid knife and I'd tie it to a damn pole. All right, which is what do I always say? Best zombie weapon, trident. All right, they can't climb down it. It sticks them. You can maybe throw it with some aerodynamics. A knife.
If you let go of your grip, though, what happens then?
No, you gotta well, you're wearing leather anyway. You're wearing leather anyway, because those nasty, rotten zombies try and bite you. Their teeth are gonna fall out. You gotta wear leather. I can't deal with people who are like, I'm wearing my tank top. Yeah, you're gonna be hot. Too effing bad. Too effing bad. Pick your battles.
I like that you're censoring yourself now.
You gotta wear. Listen, you gotta wear bicycle. You gotta wear the leather but zombies can't bite through it, scratch through it. You gotta have a distance weapon that doesn't make sound, or else other humans will come and take your shit. You gotta have something that keeps the distance, clears a space. Because if these zombies they scratch you and they bite you, you are done. It's the same thing if somebody breaks into your house. I don't want to deal with anybody. I don't want to hug some dude with a knife between us. I don't want to do that. Listen,
I have a baseball bat.
You baseball bat.
Yeah.
I've got a cricket bat.
Ooh,
yeah. I want to spice it up. I want somebody to have this hesitation of the fuck is, and then they die. See, a baseball bat, they're like, oh shit, she's got a bat. With a cricket bat, he's like, it looks like a bat. What the fuck? Oh, I'm dead.
Yeah.
You got to create the hesitation, which is also why whenever I go to investigate, I'm wearing a llama costume. That way, they're like, what the fuck's coming at me? That hesitation could be the difference between life and death, Geekscapists. And the llama costume, it's fluorescent pink. They don't know it. They expect somebody coming out in boxers.
A la Fortnite, this llama costume.
It doesn't matter. I got firecrackers going off, all sorts of shit. All right, you gotta come out. All right, you gotta come out, make a big show of things. So yeah, usually it's nothing, but it's practice sometimes. I'm trying to save the Geekscape. What do we do? We inspire, entertain, and educate. That's the educational portion of the show. Conjugate and
conjugate verbs.
Gesticulate. All right.
Gesticulate.
Okay. Bold T says I have pepper spray and a knife. Yeah, that would be me. That'd be me blinding myself and then stabbing myself in the face.
I mean, that's how I season my food in the apocalypse, because we know it's all bland food.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And crickets.
Yeah.
And human skin. Sometimes it depends. So Katie, speaking of this post-apocalyptic thing, you're training for the post-apocalyptic. You're doing that through the form of a video game called Horizon Forbidden West. Is that true?
Yes.
This is the sequel to Horizon Zero Dawn.
Yes, the sequel to Horizon Zero Dawn, PlayStation exclusive. It's great.
Well, you got to rub that in. You're playing on a PS4 though.
I am playing on the PS4.
Can you still brag about that?
Yeah, no, I think I should be able to, because it's hard to get a PS5, I think, as anybody knows. And the fact that I am considering it just tells me how far in life I've come, because there were so many of these games I just didn't even have a console to be playing any of this on. But I'm very
Katie's origin story, Geekscape, is if you don't listen to Geekscape games, her parents gave her Nintendo and stuff away because I think they thought it was possessed by the devil. I don't really know. I paraphrase.
It's fine. There were Bible games.
Bible games. That'd be enough to put me off of video games for my entire life.
I did really like this one Moses game. I don't remember what it was, but there was something about the tablets, and you had to collect the tablets. I don't remember, but it's a real game.
Okay, so you had these Bible games, but now you're living your best life. You're playing video games. You love video games. and you played Horizon
Forbidden West,
the first one, and then you played this one,
Zero Dawn.
But there was a controversy about the female lead in this game and how she
looking like an actual woman,
like a girl. She looks too buff.
You do
And it's like,
understand that
what
this
is wrong with you nerds?
Incel-tastic. Incels don't like just Horizon Zero Dawn to begin with because it's a female lead and it's boldly a female lead, and there are a lot of really strong female characters and female of color characters throughout this game, and they're badass, and the game only gets more beautiful, more expansive. There's great new abilities. There's this new swimming capability that's fantastic. I'm having fun. I haven't gotten my little thing to make me breathe underwater yet, but I can't wait for that. I'm also terrified.
An apparatus, like a snorkel.
Yeah. It's like one of the. It honestly kind of reminds me of the prequels when they have the like thing that they click in and then they just
nose.
Yeah.
Air pressure be damned. Water pressure be damned.
Right.
Yeah, it doesn't squeeze our heads like a grape. I guess that doesn't solve that, but whatever.
We're not making such stretches as Uncharted the movie, but we are making some stretches of the imagination with some of the tech here. I mean, so basically, if you haven't played any games, and one of my friends asked, should I be playing this game first or should I go back to the first one? I personally recommend go back to the first one because there's so much lore. I didn't know much about this game or this series of games before I played them.
It was like a book or something. It didn't come from like something previously. It's an original property.
It's a very original property. Yeah. As far as I know, I don't think there's any comic. There probably are resulting comics afterwards from this, but no, this is a very original property, and I thought this was like a totally different universe, totally different world situation, but this is actually very post-apocalyptic, and is currently technically in an apocalypse of its own nature, but there are sentient robot animals and dinosaur type things that you come to figure out why they are the way they are. I highly recommend going back into the beginning and then exploring the world and getting to understand what just happened to Earth and why she's such a fascinating character. She's really great. My favorite thing about the new game is that she is constantly telling white boys to shut up. It's like she said, "Shut up again!" Yay!
And Kitty,
Making a very good game.
Is this similar like a God of War or a Zelda? Like, what would you compare this to? Is it a third person kind of action? Because I'm still playing through Ghost of Tsushima because I get like a little bit of time to play video games every now and then. But
yes, so Mark's watching me play, and he's like, it reminds me of playing Ghost of Tsushima. It's very much the same. There's insane amount of abilities and weapons and different things that you can switch between. It's in that style, so it's third person view. You're watching her. She's got different outfits and costumes that you can do, and different like weaponry that she can incorporate with all of that. It's great. It's open world. You can go where you want. You can progress on the storyline. You can do side quests. I'm currently grinding on side quests because I want better gear.
Is there a level up system? Is there like?
Oh yeah, there's a huge tree.
You could actually, okay, go ahead.
Yeah, no, and it's the same with the older version of the game and the current one. But there's skill trees that you can unlock different things. You can become more centered on your warrior stuff. You can become more centered on sort of your sneaking abilities, sort of your trap making. Or
can you hit a point where you play as a male character?
I don't think that's part of the game. I don't think you can unlock that, but you might be able to do. I think there are Fortnite skins that you can unlock with like the different makeup and stuff at the moment.
Sorry, man fans.
Always gotta bring it back to Fortnite.
Ooh. Yeah, you know how disappointed I was when I got to the end of Metroid and he took her helmet off and it was a girl the whole time. Oh, Bold Team, does Katie disclose when her reviews are paid ads?
Somebody can pay me. Don't you worry. I'm not being paid for any of this knowledge.
I can verify the authenticity.
It's all pure joy.
How dare you question my Katie's joy? That is your co-host you were talking about. You worship her. And you worship Liz Saydah.
Oh, I don't know about that.
We've been doing these shows for free for your entertainment. You don't come in here and tell Katie she's a fake That's my job.
I will,
No.
and this is I guess the nerdy side of me, recovering Christian side, where the thing with this game that's really cool. I'm just gonna tie it in real quick because I have to. But one of the cool things about this is that there's so many people in like the new society that don't understand technology, so they end up worshiping it as though it were a god. And I find that fascinating, and I'm probably going to pitch an article to fandom about this, but just like with the lack of information that people have, the more they deify it.
That's a documentary of
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
This is
Yeah.
what I'm saying.
That's commentary. That
That's what
is
I'm
when
saying.
video games become commentary. That's great. I like that that is in there, and that is not accidental at all. I think that's
There's
fantastic.
a lot that there's like a couple of like factions of people that are like they're willingly going to die because they just have because of tradition. They just haven't
like
done
Don't
anything in
Look
the
Up,
past. And
the Adam
yes,
McKay film.
Yeah.
Wow. So Katie, you're doing a great job of making me buy more video games.
You're welcome.
Why? Yeah, I can't have you as co-host anymore. It's
I'm
not,
sorry. I'm the one that
expensive.
helps everybody break the bank. But yes, this game. Also, if you haven't played Oxenfree, those games are fantastic. I'm very excited for the second one. Liz, when does that come out officially?
Actually, there's no official release date yet. There was like a leak that it was coming out like beginning of February initially, but it'll be I'll just say a few more months, but it's coming. It is imminent. Be patient.
Imminent.
Well, you know what,
patient,
Katie, I
friends.
got you to
Yeah,
go
yeah.
buy comics.
You did.
So I think there's no comics are inexpensive compared to video games, and they also don't take as much time. Okay, so you are winning this battle of who can bankrupt who faster. You are winning.
But you are getting me to read more, which is probably best for my brain.
But they're funny books. It ain't, it's not like
I mean,
I'm making
Mouse
you
is not
read.
necessarily funny, but it was
No.
that was a great read. I really enjoyed that this last week.
It's beautiful. Okay, that's our show. It's got to be our show. We've touched on a lot of cool topics. We have more topics, Geekscapes, that we can keep talking about. There's lots of stuff out there. It isn't slowing down. Like I said, we got the Batman movie coming out. We've got Katie's favorite Jared Leto film, the Morbius documentary, coming out. She can't wait to see how he turns into a vampire.
When this started.
I started like 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
Remember when we were calling Venom the Venom?
Got it.
Now this is the Morbius.
This is the Morbius.
Yeah. Also, that documentary Moonfall, we haven't even seen that yet. That was cool. Did they put the moon back? I don't know. We'll find out when we see the movie. We got a lot to cover. So Geekscape, I really want you to keep telling your friends about us. The numbers have been incredibly healthy, and I love it. So I guess we're doing something right. And hit that share button, share it with your friends, and also leave us those reviews on whatever podcatcher you're on, because that really helps our visibility. And when I'm trying to get guests like Liz on the show, she's like, I never heard of you, and I'm like, oh yeah, but
not true. I have. Again, because Katie's enthusiasm is both palpable and contagious. You're like, what is
expensive and expensive?
Yeah.
Bold T says, is Cuphead better than Too Much Coffee Man? We haven't even gotten to Cuphead, which Katie and I both watched, and we love the game. We'll get to that in a future episode, because yes, and I love Too Much Coffee Man, which is an old 90s comic reference, indie comic. So good shout out there, Bold T. Okay, Liz, let's get serious.
Okay, John.
The Geekscapists should follow you on Instagram.
Yeah, for sure. Do that. And you'll see photos of my cat. Yes, follow me and tune in to my fantastic life, I guess.
It's Liz V. Say.
Liz
on
V.
Instagram.
Say. Yeah, do it. Yeah. I'm on Twitter too, but I don't really post anything. So
it's just such a positive side. I don't see why you don't partake in it more.
That's true. I know. It's luring me with its positivity,
especially as a female in voiceover work.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I do the hell carousel, where like you get on Facebook and you exhaust it, you get on Twitter, you exhaust it, you get on Instagram, you exhaust it. There's no fucking way I'm adding TikTok to that hell carousel. But I now call the doom scrolling thing, where you go to different platforms and you realize you've done it like 4 times in 5 minutes. It's just a hell carousel. And I've been doing
while
it,
you're watching something, huh?
I've been doing it horribly the last couple of days. So I got to really consciously pull myself off that carousel and get back to, I don't know, the real world. But yeah, Heidi and I took engagement photos yesterday, and then last night she was so happy, like she was like coloring them and adjusting them and replacing my face with Channing Tatum's. And she's like, what is everybody upset about? And I go, sweetie, like Katie helped Russia invade the Ukraine. And she just hadn't been kept up with all that news. And of course I had, because I've been fiendishly like devouring crap news on Twitter all freaking day. And I was like, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
To end your day on a downer. But yes, we're going into World War III and it's Katie's fault.
I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to. Who thought that my mission trip way back in the day to Kazakhstan would influence me working for a mobile gaming company in order to influence this invasion? I apologize. And I still don't know very much Russian. But
you're a recovering Christian.
I'm a recovering Christian. Yeah.
It's not your fault. It's not your fault.
It's not your fault. It's not your fault.
No, it's not your fault.
Geekscape, we're going to share a lot more news of what Liz is up to. Whenever, obviously, when Oxenfree 2 comes out, we will shout that out huge. And then Katie, we can follow you at L Sassy Pants on all the platforms, can't we?
It's true. You can. You can even check out a joke that I wrote for Hoo Ha Ha in the.
Saw that. Yes.
Yeah.
That amused me greatly.
Hoo Ha Ha is Elizabeth Banks' comedy company.
That's so cool.
Yeah. It's a bunch of female comedy creators, all in one. Yeah.
Well, Elizabeth, I think that's awesome. I think that's really cool that she's doing that. And it's. What is it? Hoo Ha Ha?
Hoo Ha Ha. Which when I first heard the
it has
company,
a connotation to it.
I
think it's on purpose. I didn't
realize the joke of it. This is a true story. I didn't realize the joke of it.
You are Christian.
Well, I know. And I had just come off of a pilot shoot where we were going to be called feminine hijinks. And I said on camera how great it was to do comedy for a company that wasn't based off of a vagina joke. And everyone was like, Katie. And I was like, what? And I didn't understand that hoo ha ha with hoo ha. It's a vagina joke too. So sometimes I'm a little bit dumb.
No, don't be like that. There's going to be one dummy hosting this show, and that was my job. Well, follow Katie, and she will link you to that joke, and she'll also tell you how awesome she is on the Instagram.
Yeah. Oh God, it's incessant.
It's every day just telling everybody how great I am.
Yeah.
That's all I got. When you're done with this podcast, you should go and check out the other shows on the network, especially before our time with Kelsey Laurie. I was the guest this week. We talked about Billy Wilder's Double Indemnity, which I think is the best noir film, and I think a lot of people say it's the best noir film. So we get into the weeds on that one because I'm a fucking film nerd, and you're going to see how badly when you listen to that episode. So enjoy that. For Liz Saydah, Katie, and myself, Geekscapists, thank you so much for joining us. Geekscape forever, over and out, and we'll see y'all next week.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks for coming on.